Hello everyone, let me ask you a question. Why does a small child believe that a taller glass has more juice even when both glasses contain the same amount? Or why does young children think toys have feelings or that the moon is following them? The answer lies in the fascinating theory of cognitive development proposed by Jean Piaget. In this video, we will explore how children think, how their thinking changes with age, and the four important stages of cognitive development that every teacher, parent, and education aspirant should understand. If you are preparing for GPSTR, HSTR, or any teaching exam, this explanation will help you understand Piaget's theory in a simple and exam oriented way. So, let's begin the journey into the mind of a child. In the past, people believed that children were passive learners. That means teachers simply gave information and children absorbed it like sponges. But Piaget argued something very different. He believed children are active constructors of knowledge. They explore, question, experiment, and build understanding themselves. In other words, children are not empty containers waiting to be filled with knowledge. They are little scientists discovering how the world works. Piaget believed that children behave like little scientists. They constantly observe, experiment, and test their ideas about the world. Through these experiences, their thinking gradually becomes more advanced. One important idea Piaget introduced is that development comes before learning. This means children must reach certain stages of cognitive development before they can understand more complex concepts. So, to understand Piaget's theory, we first need to understand a key concept called schemas. Schemas are like mental folders in our brain. Just like a filing cabinet stores different documents, our brain stores information in these mental folders to help us organize and understand the world. For example, a child may have a schema for dog, 4 legs, fur, and barking. Every time they see something similar, they try to place it into that folder. Piaget explained that learning happens through a process called adaptation. Adaptation has two important parts: assimilation and accommodation. Assimilation happens when we fit into new information into our existing schemas. For example, if a child sees a cat and calls it a dog, they are trying to fit that new animal into their existing dog schema. But when they realize the animal is actually different, their brain must adjust. This adjustment is called accommodation, changing existing knowledge to understand something new. Let's see how this process works in real life. Imagine a child sees a furry animal and calls it as kitty. At first, they are using assimilation, applying their existing cat schema. But when someone tells them it is actually a squirrel, the old schema no longer works. So the child creates a new mental category for squirrels. This is accommodation. Through this constant balance between assimilation and accommodation, children gradually build a more accurate understanding of the world. So, understanding according to Jean Piaget, cognitive development occurs in four universal stages. Each stage represents a different way of thinking and understanding the world. The four stages are Sensorimotor Stage, Preoperational Stage, Concrete Operational Stage, and Formal Operational Stage. Piaget emphasized that children must pass through these stages sequentially, and each stage builds upon the previous one. For teachers, understanding these stages helps us choose appropriate teaching strategies according to the child's developmental level. So, let's talk about the first stage. The sensory motor stage occurs from birth to 2 years of age. In the sensorimotor stage, learning occurs through direct interaction with the environment. Infants explore the world using their sensory receptors and physical actions such as touching objects, looking at them, listening to the sounds, and putting objects in their mouth. These experiences help them develop basic cognitive structures that form the foundation for later learning. Therefore, early childhood learning should focus on exploration, play, and sensory activities. The most important concept developed in this stage is called object permanence. Object permanence means understanding that objects continue to exist even when they cannot be seen. For example, if a toy is hidden under a cloth, younger infants may think it is disappeared, but older infants will search for it. This shows that their cognitive understanding is developing. Now let's talk about the next stage, the pre-operational stage. It occurs between 2 and 7 years of age. During this stage, children begin to use symbols, language, and imagination to represent objects and ideas. The major characteristics of this stage include language development, where rapid growth in vocabulary occurs. Next, symbolic thinking. The children start to use objects to represent something else. Next, egocentrism. It is the difficulty in understanding others' perspectives. Next, animism. It is believing objects have feelings. Next, centration. It is focusing on only one aspect of situation. However, children at this stage still lack logical reasoning, which develops later in concrete operational stage. Now, let's talk about one of the most important characteristic of pre-operational stage, that is egocentrism. Egocentrism means that children cannot easily understand perspectives different from their own. Piaget demonstrated this through the famous Three Mountains task. In this experiment, children were asked what a doll placed on the other side of a model mountain scene would see. Most young children answered based on their own viewpoint instead of doll's viewpoint. This shows that children at this stage find it difficult to imagine another person's perspective. Another important characteristic of pre-operational stage is animism. Animism refers to the tendency of children to believe that inanimate objects have feelings, thoughts, or life. For example, a child may say that the toy is crying or the teapot is scared. This happens because children at this stage interpret the world based on their own experiences and imagination. As cognitive development progresses, children gradually learn to distinguish between living and non-living things. In the pre-operational stage, children show a characteristic called centration. Centration means that the child focuses only on one aspect of situation and ignores other important aspects. For example, in the liquid conservation task, when water from a short glass is poured into a tall, thin glass, children say that taller glass has more water. They focus only on height of the liquid and ignore the width of the container. This demonstrates that children at this stage lack conservation and logical thinking. The pre-operational stage, which occurs between 2 and 7 years, has several important characteristics. First is symbolic play, where children use objects to represent other things. Second is centration, where children focus on only one feature of a situation. Third is egocentrism, meaning children find it difficult to see things from another person's perspective. Another feature is lack of conservation, where children cannot understand that quantity remains constant despite transformation. Finally, animism, where children believe that objects have life or feelings. Now, let's talk about third stage, the concrete operational stage, which occurs between 7 and 11 years of age. At this stage, children begin to apply logical thinking to real and concrete situations. The major characteristics include conservation, means understanding that quantity remains constant. Reversibility, it means understanding that actions can be reversed. Next, classification, it is the ability to group objects based on common characteristics. However, children at this stage still find it difficult to think about abstract concepts, which develop later in the formal operational stage. Now, let us talk about conservation. Conservation is the understanding that quantity remains the same even when its shape or appearance changes. For example, when a ball of play-doh is rolled into a long shape, younger children may think that the long shape has more material. However, children in the concrete operational stage understand that the amount remains the same despite the change in shape. Thus, conservation is an important indicator of logical thinking development. Now, let's talk about reversibility. Reversibility is a key cognitive ability that develops during concrete operational stage. It means ability to understand that actions can be reversed to return the original condition. For example, a child understands that ice cubes melt into the water and the water can be freeze again to become ice. This shows that children at this stage begin to develop logical and systematic thinking about physical processes. Now let's talk about classification. Classification is the ability to group objects based on similar characteristics such as shape, size, or color. For example, children may sort buttons based on color, shape, or size simultaneously. This ability shows that children can now organize information logically and understand relationship between categories. So, classification is an important cognitive skill that helps children develop problem solving and analytical thinking abilities. Now, let us quickly recall Piaget's concrete operational stage. It has logical thinking, conservation, reversibility, and classification and seriation. And also, in this stage, the children are less egocentric. The fourth and final stage in the Jean Piaget's cognitive development theory is the formal operational stage, which begins around 11 years and continues into adulthood. The main focus of the stage is abstract and hypothetical thinking. Unlike younger children, adolescents at this stage can think about ideas, possibilities, and future situations, not just concrete objects. The key characteristics include hypothetical deductive reasoning, advanced problem solving, abstract thinking, and metacognition. This stage marks the development of higher order thinking skills. In the formal operational stage, adolescents develop hypothetical deductive reasoning. This means they can form hypotheses, test possibilities, and logically deduce conclusions. For example, if a student knows that if mittens and whiskers are cats and all cats are mammals, then the students can logically conclude that mittens and whiskers are mammals. This shows that development of complex if-then reasoning and logical deduction. In the formal operational stage, students develop advanced problem-solving abilities. They can analyze problems logically, consider different possibilities, and predict outcomes. For example, when solving a puzzle or a complex problem, adolescents can plan strategies step by step and evaluate different solutions. This ability helps them apply logical reasoning in academic learning, science experiments, and real life situations. Another important cognitive ability that develops in this stage is metacognition. Metacognition means thinking about one's own thinking process. Students begin to reflect on questions like how do I solve this problem? Which strategy works best? What mistakes did I make? This ability improves self regulation, learning strategies, and independent thinking. So, to summarize the theory proposed by Jean Piaget, cognitive development progresses through four stages. Sensorimotor stage, which occurs from 0 to 2 years and has key characteristics like object permanence and goal directed action. And also, next stage, pre-operational stage, which occurs from 2 to 7 years, has key characteristics like symbolic thought, language acquisition, egocentrism, animism, and centration. Next, concrete operational stage from 7 to 11 years and has conservation, reversibility, classification. And last stage, formal operational stage from 11 plus years shows characteristics like abstract thinking, deductive reasoning, and advanced problem solving. So, each stage represents a qualitative change in how children understand the world. So, today we learned how children move from exploring the world with their senses to developing logical and abstract thinking through the four stages explained by Jean Piaget. Piaget's theory reminds us that children are not just small adults, they think differently at every stage of development. Understanding this helps teachers create better learning experiences and meaningful education. If you found this video helpful for your GPSTR or HSTR preparation, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more educational psychology videos. Thank you.